Okay, this is doing the gusset. Now, previously we did the heel flap. I straightened out my yarn. And now we're going to start knitting in the round again. So this is the setup. And it seems a lot worse than it is. Now, picking up gusset stitches, whatever you do, do it consistently. If you do it badly, do it consistently. I'm not real consistent. This yarn has got so many lumps and bumps in it, it's hard to see, but I'll show you as we go here what to do. So now the directions are going to tell you that this is the time you're going to put it back on 4 needles, but we're not going to do that. We're going to knit across the back here. We're going to knit across this, and we're going to be working on 2 needles, just like we're knitting in the round, and eventually they come out to just knitting in a circle. This is my favorite method for making socks. My favorite. The needles, you're not going to lose the needles. It's easy. You just have to do it a few times. It looks awkward, and like I said, I look awkward because I don't knit out in front of me. I knit real close to my body. I said I use my stomach as a tool. Okay, so now I've got all the heel stitches knit, and you can see that pouch. So now this is needle 1, and here's the flap. I want to make sure that I'm not getting tangled up. This is the flap, and this is where I'm going to pick up the edge stitches. So I look for the edge as much as I can. Now I have to pick up, how many stitches? 14 stitches. So what I do is I know this, let's see. You can put a little scrap of things. This is like halfway. So I have to pick up 7 stitches by then, and then 7 after. So that's my rule of thumb. I try to look for the edge and keep your stitches taut. So I'm going to do that, and I pick up both threads. So that's 1. Let's see if I can get this. See, we got so much stuff going on there. This is 2, whoops. Well, I can't pick it up. 2. Make sure you get the very edge. 3. Yeah. Like I said, some people are very, very anal about it. I gotta remember how many. I can't see for one. This yarn is really, okay, 3. Come on. Oh, I didn't get it. Make sure you get it. Okay. It really, oh my goodness, it's really not that difficult. Let me get this one, and then I'll, well, maybe I'm not gonna get these on there. Yeah. All right, see? It's normal. 4. 5. 6. See, I can see 7, 8, 9. Make sure you get right on the edge. 10, 11, 12. Oops, 12. Come on. I'm just going to grab it. There is no cooperation here. 13 and 14 should bring you right up to the top flap. Which this so now this is a spot where you can put a marker. Actually, that won't work because it'll fall off every time. So now I'm going to turn my needles. Holding them, pointing to the right, push the front one in. This is on the cuff. So now I'm going to start going across the cuff. Make sure you've got your yarn on the inside. Pull out the back, oops, sorry. I got ambitious there. Pull out the back needle. And knit across. And make sure your first stitch is tight. Knit across oops, sorry. Knit across the cuff. Now we're going to be knitting back in the round. We've got one more side to pick up. So each needle will have a straight knitting across the top of the sock and across the cuff. Seems like a long way across the top. Once again, the first time you do this, just do it early in the morning when you're relaxed. Have a cup of coffee. I'm watching what I'm doing and not where the camera is. I don't know how they do that, how they keep it so focused on their, maybe training. I'm not a great knitter. I can knit. I can teach it. I teach beginning knitting, and I'm very good at it. And I think it's because I had such a hard time learning it. My mom didn't show me. I copied her, and that's where I learned things wrong. I thought I was doing it right. My friends called me a crotch knitter because I shoved one of the needles. I had those real long aluminum needles, and I shoved one between my thighs. So now we're going to pick up this side of the gusset. So far, on this one needle, we have the heel and a gusset. And now I'm going to pick up, this is across the top of the foot, and now I'm going to pick up the other side of the gusset. So you got to keep this needle kind of bunched up. You can put a stitch marker there so that you just know you knit across the foot. These tangly needles. And I've got to pick up 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, oops, 8, oops, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, okay, there it is, 14. Okay, so now we've got it divided onto 2 needles. It looks like a mess. My loop is back here. My loop is back here. So now you follow the directions and okay, I knit the stitches as I go. That counts. I'm trying to figure out here now what. Okay, so now I'm gonna, remember your working yarn always comes from the back. So I'm gonna push this needle in. Pull this needle out, not too far, because you don't want to lose your loop. Oh, this is where I like to put my marker, is right across the heel, and then, but I know there's 14 stitches, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, so I knit to here. But if you put a stitch marker there, I don't have anything with me, I don't think. And a stitch marker can even be a straw. It's amazing what you can use for a stitch marker. I've got to have one here. And then friends of mine made me, well, I made these cute little sheep stitch markers. Yeah, they catch on everything. So they're not, when you buy stitch markers, just be kind of careful what you get. Okay, I've got a little blue one here that I'll put on when I get there. I'll count across how many stitches there are here. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, that's kind of a random number. So I'm going to knit. Remember to pull that first stitch tight so that you don't have a hole. 1, 2. You just knit 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, there, 16, what is this here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, so I'll knit one more. Doesn't look like it belongs there, but, and then I'll put this marker, which just means this is my gusset. Okay, every other round you knit. So you just knit a complete round after you pick up, and that's what I'm gonna do. So, and this then just evens out all your stitches you picked up, and then the next row you do decreasing. So every other row you knit a round, and a round is both needles. Remember, you have two sides on this sock. My yarn is getting tight here. What is going on? Oh. I was hoping it would change color eventually. It's like I might get two socks that almost match. Okay, so I've got one side done. So now turn my needles. Push the front needle in. Pull the back needle out enough to work on. And now I'm going to knit across the top of the sock. And how I can tell that is it's short. See, that's my cuff. Once again, pull that first stitch tight so you don't have a gap, and just knit across this. So basically the round I'm knitting will end up on the top of the foot. The bottom of the foot. This is the top. And your first stitches might be a little tight because you're nervous. Picking up stitches and your gauge, not the gauge, but your tension is tight and goofy. You know what? Don't worry about it. It's your first, if it's your first sock. I sold my sock machine. I had a sock machine, so I made all my socks on the sock machine, but I don't even wear socks. I sold them. Oh my goodness. Here. I sold them, but I didn't, my feet get too hot. I go all winter without socks. You know, sometimes things just, I'm on the top of the sock. I'm coming up to the gusset now. Not the gusset. This is, if you finish a sock with these directions, you're doing great. What's with the fat bratwurst fingers? Jeez. They're shiny too. That's what I'm seeing. Maybe it's not so bad. Okay, now this round I do nothing when I come to that. I just slip my marker, and I'm going to finish knitting the stitches I picked up. So then they're all uniform, maybe. And then you start the gusset. Well, we did start it, I'm sorry. But this next one you do the decrease row. It's just fascinating to watch how knitting shapes. That's maybe why I like turning heels. I like watching how the knitting shapes gets back to the foot again, because we're going to be decreasing and making that little isosceles triangle. Okay, now I'm back to needle 1. And that's the one with the heel flap. So now I knit across the heel flap. So I'm going to knit to this first marker. Again, pulling that first stitch tight so you don't have a hole. After you see me bumbling here, you should be real proud of any knitting you do. And this is the bottom of the foot. I'm coming up on the marker. And each side you do a different kind of decrease. And the reason why you have different decreases is one is left slanting, one is right slanting. So you slip the marker. You knit one. You slip, knit. So make sure you got 2 stitches on there. And you knit to the end of this needle. So your decrease is on each side of the heel. And you know, I keep the directions out so I remember which one's slip, slip, knit, because I don't remember. I don't care enough to remember, basically. I guess that's the issue. And I've even knit 2 together. Like I said, if you get down that low and look at my socks, you've got other issues. So then I'm going to knit that one's done. I'm going to knit across the top of the foot now, pushing this in, pulling the other one out, not too far. You don't want to lose your loop. If you lose your loop, you count stitches and go back and figure it out. Pull that first stitch tight. Knit across. Now it's just knitting. We're in the round again. So once I get across here, once I get to the other stitch marker, then I knit to 3 stitches before the marker. And now I've got hiccups. So then this is a decrease row. Then the next one is just a knit row, and you continue in that knit, the decrease row and then the knit row till you're caught up. I'm not going to keep boring you with this. I'm going to cut it out, and then when I'm towards the end, I'll come back on the camera. don't want to knit too much. My hands get sore. I don't know about you. I turn on an Audible book and then I knit and I spin. I love listening to books when I'm doing this. Okay, I'm across the top of the foot now. And basically what's going to happen is all this on the rest of it is going to equal this on the top. So we're decreasing all of this until it is the same as this, and then we continue on. So now I slip the marker and knit to within three stitches of the end. Make sure you don't have a big gap there. These stitches will all be gone. You keep eating away at them, you know, one decrease at a time. The anatomy of a sock is the same on all socks. Your top, okay, I've got 3 here. On these, you knit 2 together. Make sure you got them both. Slippery little suckers. Wow, I'm only picking up 1. What is the deal here? There we go. 2. Doesn't feel right. There we go. And then you knit the last one. So you knit 2 together, knit the last one. That's a round. Now I'm back to the heel, which is my number 1, and you can put a sticker on here or something and saying this is needle 1. But now I'm going to knit around, and then I'm going to decrease around and knit around until you eat up all these stitches in the gusset. And you'll see they make that triangle. They make this triangle right here. Wait till the camera focuses on it. It's not gonna. Yeah, there. So we're working on this triangle. And then the top and the bottom of the sock will be the same amount of stitches. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Once again, like my YouTube channel, Jan Massie, M-A-S-S-I-E. Okay, thanks. Bye.